Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayadire Nashtavrayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhagavati Naishtaki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 10, text number 8 onwards. So we are discussing the pastimes of Lord Ramchandra. Ya satya pasha parivita piturindesham stranasya chapi shirsa jagrihe sabharya rajam shriyam prainaha suhrido nivasam tyaktva yayo vanam sonev mukta sangaha. Carrying out the order of his father, who was bound by a promise to his wife, Lord Ramchandra left behind his kingdom, opulence, friends, well-wishers, residents, and everything else. Just as a liberated soul gives up his life and went to the forest with Sita. Maharaj Dashrath had 3 wives. One of them, Kaikeyi, served him very pleasingly, and he therefore wanted to give her a benediction. Kaikeyi, however, said that she would ask for the benediction when it is necessary. At the time of the coronation of Prince Ramchandra, Kaikeyi requested her husband to enthrone her son Bharat and send Ramchandra to the forest. Maharaj Dashrath, being bound by his promise, ordered Ramchandra to go to the forest according to the dictation of his beloved. And the Lord, as an obedient son, accepted the order immediately. He left everything without hesitation, just as a liberated soul or great yogi gives up his life without material attraction. So this is how obedient Lord Ram was. He just left because it was a word given by Maharaj Dashrath to his wife Kaikeyi. And Kaikeyi had asked him that the condition was Bharat will get the throne and Lord Ram will go to the forest for 14 years. So I know, there are so many other details and how Kaikeyi was influenced by Manthara. And it is also mentioned how the demigods actually influenced Manthara and Kaikeyi because they wanted Ram to go out to the forest and kill all these Rakshasas. So plenty of stories, plenty of although Kaikeyi got the bad name, Manthara got the bad name, but in the heart of Lord Ram, they were always respected because he knew exactly what was happening. So the devotees, even at the cost of their own prestige, they want to serve the Lord. And like Lord Ram also, how he served his father, how he served his whole dynasty, and killed the Rakshasas. So that was the main idea. And of course, here Shukdev Goswami is just running through these shlokas, and Prabhupada also did not give much purport because, as Shukdev Goswami told Maharaj Parikshit, that you have already heard of the pastimes of Lord Ram. So we'll not talk about that in detail. Text 9. Rakshasva surve krit rupam ashuddha buddhera tasya kharatre shirdushan mukhya bandhuna jagne chaturda sahasram paraniya kodanda pani ratman vasa krishram. While wandering in the forest where he accepted a life of hardship, carrying his invincible bow and arrows in his hand, Lord Ramchandra deformed Ravan's sister, who was polluted with lusty desires, by cutting off her nose and ears. He also killed her 14,000 Rakshas friends, headed by Khara, Trishira, and Dusha. Of course, here it is said Lord Ram cut off the nose and ears of Shupnaka, but it was Lakshman who did the cutting. But anyway, text 10. Sita Katha Shravan Deepit Hrichena Srishtam Vilokya Nripate Dashkandatena Jagne Adbhutena Vapusha Shramato Apkrishto Maricha Mashu Vishikena Yatha Kamugraha. O King Parikshit, when Ravan, who had 10 heads on his shoulders, heard about the beautiful and attractive features of Sita, his mind was agitated by lusty desires, and he went to kidnap her. To distract Lord Ramchandra from his ashram, Ravan sent Maricha in the form of golden deer, and when Lord Ramchandra saw that wonderful deer, he left his residence and followed it, and finally killed it with a sharp arrow, just as Lord Shiva killed Daksha. रक्षो अधमेन वृक्वद विपिने असमक्षम वैदेह राज दुहितर यया पया पितायाम भ्रात्रा वने कृपणं वत् प्रियया वियुक्तः स्त्री संगिनां गतिमिति प्रथयंश्चचार. When Ramchandra entered the forest and Lakshman was also absent, the worst of the Rakshasas, Ravan, kidnapped Sita, the daughter of the king of Videha, just as a tiger seizes unprotected sheep when the shepherd is absent. When Lord Ramchandra wandered in the forest with his brother Lakshman as if very much distressed due to separation from his wife, thus he showed by his personal example the condition of a person attached to women. Of course, Lord Ram is not attached in the sense that we get attached to our wives or girlfriends. But he showed what happens if a person gets too attached to wife. And Prabhupada says nicely in the purport. In this verse, the word Stri Sanginam Gatiniti indicate that the condition of a person attached to women was shown by the Lord himself. According to moral instructions, Griham Narim Vivarjayet, when one goes on a tour, one should not bring his wife. Formerly, men used to travel without conveyances, but still, as far as possible, when one leaves home, one should not take his wife with him, especially if one is in such a condition as Lord Ramchandra, when banished by the order of his father. Whether in the forest or at home, if one is attached to women, this attachment is always troublesome, as shown by the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his personal example. So, Tamodvaram Yoshitam Sangi Sangam. Tamodvaram means if we get too attached to the women, well, actually not women, be person of opposite sex, or to the person who talk only about that topic, then it just opens the door to hell. Of course, this is the material side of Stri Sangi, but the situation of Lord Ramchandra is spiritual, for he does not belong to the material world. Narayana Paro Avyaktat. Narayana is beyond the material creation. Because he is a creator of the material world, he is not subject to the conditions of the material world. The separation of Lord Ramchandra from Sita is spiritually understood as Vipralamba, which is an activity of the Hladini potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, belonging to Sringara Rasa, the mellow of conjugal love in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has all the dealings of love, displaying the symptoms called Sattvic, Sanjari, Vilapa, Murcha, and Anumad. Thus, when Lord Ramchandra was separated from Sita, all these spiritual symptoms were manifested. The Lord is neither impersonal nor impotent. Rather, he is Satchidananda Vigraha, the eternal form of knowledge and bliss. Thus, he has all the symptoms of spiritual bliss. Feeling separation from one's beloved is also an item of spiritual bliss. As explained by Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami, Radha Krishna Pranay Vikritir Haladani Shakti Rasma. The dealings of love between Radha and Krishna are displayed as the pleasure potency of the Lord. The Lord is the original source of all pleasure, the reservoir of all pleasure. Lord Ramchandra, therefore, manifested the truth both spiritually and materially. Materially, those who are attached to women suffer, but spiritually, when there are feelings of separation, between the Lord and his pleasure potency, the spiritual bliss of the Lord increases. See, this is something that we cannot understand. The spiritual bliss increases when there are feelings of separation. Here in the material world, everybody is running around for, or fighting for, or doing all sorts of tricks to get united. But they don't understand. In spiritual world, there is more bliss in separation. This is called Vipralambha Bhava. So this bliss, when Lord Ram was separated from Sita for 1 year, Ravan kidnapped her, and Lord Ram wanted to enjoy that bliss. And there was so much of pleasure after the separation. When they met again, there was so much of pleasure. And the separation increased their love between Ram and Sita, that he wanted to, or they both wanted to taste this separation again. And that is why it's also mentioned that when Lord Ram banished Sita to the forest, and this was one of the reasons, the washerman was just a secondary reason. Primary reason was they wanted to taste that pleasure, the bliss of separation. The love really increases. Of course, this is spiritual topics, and when one can only understand when we are at that level, when we are that purified, then we would be able to understand. And actually, Gaur Govind Maharaj, in one of his lectures, he has said that because Lord Ram, as Lord Ram, he enjoyed, or Sita also enjoyed. So that is why when Krishna came to perform his pastimes, he wanted to enjoy the separation. And that is why Krishna and Radharani were separated for a very long time. Out of 125 years that Krishna performed his pastimes, they were separated for 100 years. That's a very long time. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when Krishna came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although Mahaprabhu is Krishna's body with the mood of Radharani, he was always in separation because he wanted to taste it. And that is Jagannath Puri. Jagannath Puri is, Lord Jagannath is Krishna in mood of separation from Radharani and other Brajvasis, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna in the mood of Radharani in separation from Krishna. And they both are there in Jagannath Puri. And that's why Jagannath Puri Dham is also called Vipralambha Kshetra, where they both are in separation. Of course, nobody talks about this. Only acharyas like Gaur Govind Maharaj has talked about it. This is the internal mood of Jagannath Puri. And also, it is explained that is the internal mood in this place called Raval, not Raval, Javat. Javat, which is the Sasural of Radharani, not far from Nandagaon. But Javat is a place where when Radharani is there, she is in complete separation from Krishna, and Jatila and Kutila, Jatila her mother-in-law, Kutila her sister-in-law, and Abhimanyu her so-called husband, they are there to enhance that mood of separation. They always are scheming of things so that Radharani cannot meet Krishna. And Krishna is also outside. Javat wants to meet Radharani. So that place is also a very, very special place because it heightens their mood of meeting when they are in separation. So their love really intensifies. And this is what Prabhupada has explained. That spiritually, when there are feelings of separation between the Lord and his pleasure potency, or Krishna and Radharani, or Sita and Ram, the spiritual bliss of the Lord increases. And Prabhupada further said, this is further explained in Bhagavad Gita. avajananti mam mudha. One who does not know the spiritual potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead thinks of the Lord as an ordinary human being, but the Lord's mind, intelligence, and senses can never be affected by material conditions. So, of course, Bhagavad Gita doesn't talk about this mood of separation and bliss increase, but it gives an idea that when he displays his pastimes as an ordinary human being, people mistake him, misunderstand him. And that is why we have to approach a guru who can teach us properly. This fact is further explained in Skanda Purana as quoted by Madhvacharya. It was actually impossible for Ravan to take away Sita. The form of Sita taken by Ravan was an illusory representation of Mother Sita or Maya Sita. When Sita was tested in the fire, this Maya Sita was burnt, and the real Sita came out of the fire. A further understanding to be derived from this example is that a woman, however powerful she may be in the material world, must be given protection. For as soon as she is unprotected, she will be exploited by Rakshasas like Ravan. Here the words Vaideh Raja Duhitari indicate that before Mother Sita was married to Lord Ramchandra, she was protected by her father, Vaideh Raj or Janakraj. And when she was married, she was protected by her husband. Therefore, the conclusion is that a woman should always be protected. According to Vedic rule, there is no scope for a woman being independent. Asmaksam. For a woman cannot protect herself independently. Of course, these days we think, oh, they learn judo, karate, and they are independent women. They have their own career, they're making money, and this and that. But that's external, actually. What they really need is emotional security. And for that, husbands or men have to work hard to provide it. Text 12. Dagdvatma kritya hat krityam mahan kabandham sakhyam vidhaya kapirphir daita gatinta buddhavat valini hate plavagendra sanyir velama gatsa manujo adibhavar chitangri. Lord Ramchandra, whose lotus feet are worshipped by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, had assumed the form of a human being. Thus he performed the funeral ceremony of Jatayu, who was killed by Ravana. The Lord then killed the demon named Kabandha, and after making friends with the monkey chiefs, killing Vali and arranging for the deliverance of Mother Sita, he went to the beach of the ocean. Of course, all these shlokas are not in any chronological order. So whatever Shukdev Goswami is thinking of, he is speaking. When Ravan kidnapped Sita, he was obstructed on the way by Jatayu, a large bird. But the powerful Ravan defeated Jatayu in the fight and cut his wing. When Ramchandra was searching for Sita, he found Jatayu almost dead and was informed that Sita has been carried away by Ravan. When Jatayu died, Lord Ramchandra did the duty of a son by performing the funeral ceremony. And then he made friends with the monkeys to deliver Sita Devi. So we know all these past. Yadrosh vibhrama vritta kataksh patha sambhranta kram karo bhaya giran ghosha sindhu shirasya rahanam parigrihya rupi padara vindam upagamya babhasha etat. After reaching the beach, Lord Ramchandra fasted for 3 days, awaiting the arrival of the ocean personified. When the ocean did not come, the Lord exhibited his pastimes of anger, and simply by his glancing over the ocean, all the living entities within it, including the crocodiles and sharks, were agitated by fear. Then the personified ocean fearfully approached Lord Ramchandra, taking all paraphernalia to worship him. Falling at the Lord's lotus feet, the personified ocean spoke as follows. So Lord Ram fasted for 3 days at the ocean, but he didn't give the way. And when Lord Ramchandra, he, of course, he ate it simply by his glancing over, or when he put that arrow to put that arrow on his bow, Ocean became afraid and he approached Lord Ram. Natvam vayam jadadhiyo nuvidam bhuman kutasthamadi purusham jagadam disham yat sattata sargana rajasa prajesha manyoscha bhutapataya sabhavan gunesha. All-pervading Supreme Person, we are dull-minded and did not understand who you are. But now we understand that you are the Supreme Person, the Master of the entire universe, the unchanging and the original Supreme Personality of God. The demigods are infatuated with the mode of goodness, the Prajapatis with the mode of passion, and the Lord of Ghosts with the mode of ignorance. But you are the master of all these qualities. The word Jadadhiya refers to intelligence like that of an animal. A person with such intelligence cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Without being beaten, an animal cannot understand the purpose of a man. Similarly, those who are dull-minded cannot understand the Supreme Personality of God. But when punished severely by the modes of material nature, they begin to understand him. A Hindi poet has said, दुख से सब हरि भजे सुख से भजे कोई सुख से अगर हरि भजे दुख कहाँ से होए दुख कहाँ से होए. When one is distressed, he goes to church or temple to worship the Lord. But when opulent, he forgets the Lord. Therefore, punishment by the Lord through material nature is necessary in human society. For without it, men forget the supremacy of the Lord due to their dull, blunt intelligence. So that is the reason sometimes the Lord gives us dukkha or problems so that we don't forget Him. And this is Jadadhiya, this is Ocean is saying, we are Jadadhiya, we are dull-minded like an animal. Kamam prayahi jahi vishwaso avam eham trailokya ravanam avapnuhi virapatnim badnihi setumihi te yashaso vitatya gayanti digvijayino vayamupeti bhupaha. My Lord, you may use my water as you like. Indeed, you may cross it and go to the abode of Ravan, who is a great source of disturbance and crying for the three waters. He is a son of Vishrava, but is condemned like urine. Please go kill him and thus regain your wife, Sita Devi. O great hero, although my water presents no impediment to your going to Lanka, please construct a bridge over it to spread your transcendental fame. Upon seeing this wonderfully uncommon deed of your lordship, all the great heroes and kings in the future will glorify you. So this is also one of the reasons Ocean did not give him the way, because he wanted the Lord to be glorified, to do something wonderfully uncommon for anybody else. It is said that a sun and urine emanate from the same source, the genitals. When a son is a devotee or a great learned person, the seminal discharge for begetting a son is successful. But if the son is unqualified and brings no glory to his family, he is no better than urine. Here Ravan is compared to urine because he was the cause of disturbances to the three worlds. Thus the Ocean personified wanted him killed by Lord Ramchandra. So that's why Ocean called Ravan as no better than urine. One feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Ramchandra, is omnipotence. The Lord can act without regard to material impediments or inconveniences. But to prove that He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and was not merely advertised as Godhead or elected by popular vote, He constructed a wonderful bridge over the ocean. Nowadays, it has become fashionable to create some artificial god who performs no uncommon activities. A little magic will bewilder a foolish person into selecting an artificial god because he does not understand how powerful God is. Lord Ramchandra, however, constructed a bridge over the water with stone by making the stone float. This is proof of God's uncommonly wonderful power. Why should someone be accepted as God without displaying extraordinary potency by doing something never to be done by any common man. We accept Lord Ramchandra as the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he constructed this bridge. And we accept Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he lifted Govardhan Hill when he was only 7 years old. We should not accept any rascal as God or an incarnation of God. For God displays special features in his various activities. Therefore, the Lord himself says, Janma Karma Chame Divya. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. The activities of the Lord are not common. They are all transcendently wonderful and are not able to be performed by any other living being. The symptoms of the Lord's activities are all mentioned in the Shastras, and after one understands them, one can accept the Lord as he is. So this is one of the reasons the Lord performs all these wonderful superhuman activities. But these are his pastimes. They are at the same time very, very sweet. Sweet for the devotees and superhuman for those who have no or very little faith. So he performed these pastimes so that people can talk about him, remember him. And not anybody and everybody can claim that he is God, because nobody can perform these activities. So many, many reasons he performs this, and devotees always talk so lovingly about all these pastimes. So anyway, we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments. Okay, so you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri.
Hare Krishna, Jai Shri